If you were anywhere near a screen over the July 4th weekend, you probably caught wind of a pretty massive update regarding something we literally all carry in our pockets. We're talking about a breaking news event that is fundamentally changing the look of American money. So let's dive into this explainer, because there is some seriously fascinating history and some brand new developments that we need to unpack. Specifically, we're zeroing in on the $100 bill. And look, this isn't just some minor design tweak to a coin nobody uses. It's a huge, highly visual shift centered entirely around one of the most widely circulated denominations on the planet. Now don't worry, Benjamin Franklin's portrait, it's staying right where it is, but a brand new, highly recognizable addition has just been made to the front of the note. The immediate hook for this story dropped right before the holiday, on July 3rd, 2026, which is definitely going down as a major milestone in U.S. currency. President Donald Trump posted an image on his Truth Social account. The image clearly showed his familiar signature printed right there on a crisp, brand new $100 bill, and it's positioned super prominently, right above the signature of Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. As you can imagine, this visual reveal immediately sparked a massive conversation online and across every major news network. But before we get into the specifics of all those reactions, let me ask you guys a quick question. Whose signatures are in your wallet right now? Take a second, pull out a dollar bill if you have one handy, and really look at it. You might be surprised to realize that you probably have absolutely no idea who those names belong to in the bottom corners. Historically, those spots have been strictly reserved for very specific financial officials, which is exactly why this new update is so entirely unique. And this brilliantly illustrates our first topic today, Section 1, Breaking Currency Traditions. You see, we aren't just looking at a new piece of paper with fresh ink. We're looking at the breaking of a governmental tradition that has stood continuously for over a century and a half. Starting all the way back in 1861, putting the U.S. Treasurer's signature on banknotes became the steadfast, unquestioned standard. But look at how fast things shifted this year compared to that 165-year-old tradition. In March of 2026, the Treasury Department announced a bold plan to feature President Trump on the bill. From there, things moved at lightning speed. By June, reports were already coming out that the first run of these new bills was actively being printed, leading us right to that July 3rd reveal on social media. So let's break down exactly what changed here. Normally, on standard bills, you've got a very specific setup, the Treasury Secretary on one side and the Treasurer on the other. But on the new $100 bill, the Treasurer's signature is completely gone. The current Treasurer, Brandon Beach, is actually stepping aside for this redesign. And this swap is a huge deal historically, because it makes Donald Trump the very first sitting president in American history to have his signature featured on a banknote. Now, you might be wondering, why make the change right now? Well, the official reasoning from the Treasury Department is directly tied to a massive upcoming national milestone. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent explained the administration's rationale with this quote. He said, "There is no more powerful way to recognize the historic achievements of our great country and President Donald J. Trump than U.S. dollar bills bearing his name." So the Treasury is linking this historic currency update directly to the upcoming 250th anniversary of the United States. Let's move to and see how this builds into our next topic. Section 2, the legal rules for coins. 3, as in 3 inches. While paper money is governed by one set of regulations, minted coins actually operate under a slightly different legal framework. Back in March, the Commission of Fine Arts approved a new 24-karat gold coin featuring President Trump's face. And during the approval process, James McCrary, the Commission's vice chairman, actually pushed to make this coin as large as legally possible, requesting it be a full 3 inches in diameter. For a coin, that is absolutely massive. So here is the real aha moment for how the rules actually work. Why is the president's signature going on the $100 bill, but his physical face is only going on this gold coin? Well, it turns out federal law strictly prohibits a living president from having their portrait placed on circulating paper currency, the cash we use every day at the grocery store. However, the law grants the Treasury Secretary the specific authority to mint and issue proof gold coins. So a signature on paper money works perfectly within the rules, but placing a living president's face on an item of monetary value, that's reserved exclusively for special, non-circulating minted coins. And speaking of coins, here is a fantastic piece of trivia to add to your historical knowledge base. Is Donald Trump the first living president to be featured on a coin? Surprisingly, no. That rare distinction actually belongs to Calvin Coolidge. Coolidge is the only other president in U.S. history to have been featured on a coin during his actual lifetime. It's an incredibly rare occurrence, which honestly makes the approval of this new 24-karat gold coin a major historical moment in its own right.
So the crucial point is how everyone is responding. Section 3, public and political reactions. First off, the enthusiasm online has been wild. Whenever you alter something as deeply ingrained in our daily routines as money, you are guaranteed to get a really passionate spectrum of responses. The reaction from the president's supporters has been highly celebratory. People are all over social media with immediate approval, posting things like, "Yeah, this rocks." You even have supporters jokingly offering to take any unwanted new $100 bills off the hands of critics. The hype is so high that some voices online are even calling for Trump's face to entirely replace Benjamin Franklin on the bill, which really shows a strong desire among his base to see a much greater presence of the president on our national currency. On the flip side, the move has also drawn some really sharp political pushback. Critics are using the signature change to refocus attention back on the administration's economic record. Just look at California Governor Gavin Newsom, who responded to the news with this pretty stark quote. "Now Americans will know exactly who to blame as they're paying more for groceries, gas, rent, and healthcare." This perfectly juxtaposes the two sides, showing how a single design change on a bill is being used simultaneously as a symbol of historic achievement and a lightning rod for economic criticism. Which brings us to a final overarching thought to wrap up this explainer. The $100 bill sitting in your wallet right now is quite literally a piece of living history. As we approach America's 250th anniversary, how do you think future generations will view the evolution of our currency? Are they going to see these signature and coin updates as a bold celebration of a milestone era, or maybe as a fascinating snapshot of a really polarized political climate? Regardless of where you stand on it, there's absolutely no denying that the tradition of American money has officially entered a brand new chapter. Keep an eye on your change, keep asking great questions about the world around you, and thank you so much for joining me to explore the story behind the slides.